to this week's City View. You're hearing some construction equipment in the background. That's actually utility work being done for the new middle school in Southwest Quincy. We're standing in front of the old Sterling Middle School, and I'm joined today by a good superintendent, Dr. Rick DeCristofaro, a longtime superintendent. How many years now, superintendent? 18 years. Wow, long time with our system. Great manager, a great leader for our school system, and this is another great project that you, the people of the city of Quincy, and certainly our partners at the state level, are funding for our kids. It's all about the kids, as we say.
Always about the kids.
I know I've worked with Dr. Christopher on the building at Quincy High, on the new Central Middle School, and now we're in the midst of a brand new middle school that's going to serve Southwest Quincy here. And this building has lived its usefulness. It was built in the 20s. I don't know if it was 24, 27. Quincy High was 24.
There you go.
I always mix them up. Yeah. And you know, it obviously needs an awful lot of work, so the state and the city, in conjunction with our architects, engineers, felt it was time for a new building that would not have been a good use of public money to invest into this old structure that needs everything. So I know there's a lot of people that have sentimental value because they tend to the old place, but I think once we get the new building open, they'll be thrilled. They'll be very happy. And of course, with new facilities, it just makes the learning environment that much better for our kids. Obviously it comes down to the teacher and the kids, but you got to have the tools, you got to have the resources in the classroom. So we're just going to take a peek in the old building to remind folks why we're replacing it, and then we'll take a little walk through the new building as well. So now we're standing inside the old Sterling Middle School. This is actually the George H. DiPaolo Auditorium, named for Mr. DiPaolo a number of years ago, a longtime custodian, but a World War II vet.
60 years here as a custodian.
60 years as a custodian, that's remarkable. The only one that I heard that has topped that is we just lost Marion Fantuccio, and she worked 66 years for the Assessors Department.
Wonderful people.
But a special generation, and George, I know, served this nation in World War II. He did. A beloved figure here for a long time. So you can see in the auditorium here, though it has some charm to it. It does not meet today's standards in many, many ways. And certainly handicap accessibility is a challenge. All the code issues, electrical, and all the upgrades that would be needed. You can see the exposed radiators, which you would never have today. Kids can burn themselves on those things. So again, the analysis done by a lot of engineers and designers was that the cost to rehab a building like this far would exceed a new structure. Never mind the whole issue of logistics, trying to work around kids in the school building, and that's why the cost would be part of the reason it'd be so high. So we're going to take a peek in the lunchroom, and then we'll take a look in the classroom. I just, for those folks that may not be familiar with Sterling, just gives you kind of a taste of some of the old structures. Because it's an old building doesn't mean it's a bad building. We've got some great old buildings that were rehabbed, like Wollaston and Montclair School, and some of those old brick and granite. This one, I don't think was built quite at that same quality.
Correct.
And of course, now we're dealing with some of those challenges. And today's standards with air quality and all those things, HVAC, that you don't really think about, but part of an infrastructure in a learning environment is so important. So let's take a peek down the hall, Doc, while we're walking. Now I know, Doc, that you're a Quincy High grad, but you didn't go to Sterling. You went to Point.
Point, yes.
Point.
Yep. Yeah.
And school budget is a big budget. We have you have a lot of responsibility running the school department. Each of the buildings, obviously, we have leaders, principals, and assistant principals, teachers, paraprofessionals, nurses, guidance, custodians,
health interventionists,
cafeteria workers.
All things you help put in the budget, Mayor.
There's a lot to run in the school department day to day, and Dr. DeCristofaro does an incredible job on it, and we're grateful for that. And I know we have some good colleagues on the school committee, and you got a tremendous superintendent leadership team. Kevin Mulvey and that whole team just does great work. And I know that we try our best to, and you lead that effort, to really treat each kid and each family individually to their needs. And that's what education's become.
And this school, does a great job at that anyway, but with the new school, it'll be so much more personalized, internally as well as externally when you feel, look at the connections that you're making and you have made with Lincoln Hancock, with Kincaid and all those improvements that will come. And it's a wonderful project, but the personalized environment is you hit the nail on the head. That's really what it's all about.
Which is very different from when we were in school.
Oh yeah.
I mean, you were thrown in the classroom and
that's it. You're on your own,
And I say that respectfully. It's just the times we lived in.
Yeah,
today we recognize some of the challenges we face. I know with some of the special ed programs, for example, I never heard of autism when we were kids, so there's a lot of challenges that families are dealing with that are difficult enough in the home environment. So, for these kids to get a solid education and be treated with the care and compassion they get every day is a tribute to your staff, I'll tell you.
Great, they're wonderful.
So this is the...
Yeah, see, this is currently student dining, and as you can see, that it needs a lot of improvements. And when you look at the amount of space that they have, it's very, very limited. You got a walled-in area over here, where what we'll do with the new school, the student dining, will be glass on one end and glass on the other. And the servery obviously will be brand new. But the other thing is true, and we talked about this, Mayor, that as you've done, I think, in the city in a lot of ways, we build flexibility into whatever we do. So the new student dining area will be bright and beautiful, but also can be used before school, after school, can be used for parent meetings, because it'll be so comfortable, with the latest technology. And so there's that personalized environment, but academically as well as culturally, every space that will be in this new school really fits our kids. And as we always do.
Which is important because you've seen the changes in your tenure in education and how things change so quickly. To have that flexibility is so important.
Yeah.
And I know the old days it was, elementary schools, it was the classroom, maybe a library, the nurse's office. If you had a gym, you were lucky. Cafeteria was usually the cellar. Things have changed, and the space needed per child today in education has changed too.
Yeah, and as you mentioned in the auditorium, the accessibility. The handicap accessibility is full. Where right now it's so very, very limited for some of our students. And schools have really accommodated that, and parents have been wonderful. But a school like this, and our new schools, and really pretty much every school has some accessibility. This will be full, as many of our new schools and renovated schools are.
And you can't see necessarily on camera, but the floors are cracked, the walls are cracked. There's all kinds of, it's structurally safe, but this building needs everything. So, when the taxpayers question me about spending money about the future, it's a business decision to a large degree. Okay, so do we spend millions in an old building and still have an old building that doesn't meet the education requirements of today? Or do we invest in a new building? We join our state partners with the School Building Authority. We're getting some 63%, I believe, reimbursement for this new building. So going forward, it's better investment dollar-wise for our residents and taxpayers, as well as obviously taking care of our kids.
For short-term hardship, what we're getting for the future of our kids in this city is phenomenal. Absolutely phenomenal.
Well, let's take a walk, and then I think we're going to look at some of the new area.
Sure.
So do we have to? How do we get to that backside? Do we walk through it? Or making our way onto the construction site to the old days you'd call it the rear, the back door. But today, with the new building, I know there's a main front door, but this isn't like a rear door. This is really an entrance on both sides of the building. So behind us is the Kincaid Playground, which we're going to undergo major renovations for coming up. We're up to bid now, so it may start in the fall, which is also going to benefit the school, some of the activity space there. But we're now looking at the back of the building. As I said, they're both beautiful. This part of the building, you see the masonry on it to the left is where the gymnasium will be. Upper floor of classrooms to the right is the dining area that the superintendent was talking about, with all that glass and beautiful viewing for people. And it looks like we're making a thunderstorm, so I think we'll make our way inside.
Yeah, you have the gymnasium, then back there you have the auditorium, the choral room, music room. So it's really a great place. And then behind that, the health education lab. So very, very well planned.
And by the way, I know we talked about this. We were not going to build a middle school without an auditorium.
No,
But
absolutely.
the auditorium does not get reimbursed
And
by
we
the
thank
state
you for that.
for whatever reason.
Yeah.
You know, so
Yeah.
we all agreed that was a no-brainer to do it. But you know, when we talk about the reimbursement stuff, we're truly grateful to the School Building Authority, Treasurer Goldberg, the Director Jack McCarthy, the board, and of course our legislative delegation, which helps to create the funding source for it. So, so many people touch these projects
That's right.
in so many ways.
Yeah, and I think this for the community too. You know, to have the community use the gymnasium, use the auditorium.
Yep.
You know, it just wasn't done before. Certainly on a consistent basis. Now these are going to be such great areas that again, so many of the community members will be here. You know, renting. You know,
Sure.
or using, not even renting, just using.
I'm sure
you
the
know?
adult basketball will be looking to get the new gym, right?
Exactly.
I know they rent gyms all across the
Yeah,
city, as
yeah.
does our recreation department. I know we coordinate with Quincy Recreation
Yeah.
for our use of the facilities.
Somebody-
Serves the same kids.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
right. That's right.
So this area would be the gymnasium area that we're seeing. Obviously, it's wide open and
How are you?
still well under construction.
You know, man.
A lot of stuff stored in here for the construction of the whole building. A lot of parts and pieces, piping. You can see it. HVAC equipment. You see the hard workers passing by. Doing a great job. You can see the steel, everything exposed,
I have no complaints.
and certainly
How about you? Your kids sticking around?
the workers been doing a great job. Bond Brothers, a great contractor. Everything is on time, on budget. AI3 is the architecture firm. They're doing amazing work.
Yeah, auditorium.
So you know, we were concerned going into this. I know probably nobody more concerned than you about the construction site being right next to the school
Right.
and you know the safety of the kids. And from all reports, everything has gone seamless and no issues. Communication constantly, which I know is huge.
Right. Yeah. Bond, really, PCA 360, is all concerned about safety first for our kids.
Yeah.
You know, so that's all taken care of. And you remember Quincy High School, we had that same issue of right next to it, and they did a fine job there too. So this is first
we're
and
getting
foremost
good at
in
it.
mind. That's right. Yeah, right. Exactly.
So this is a
Practice.
transition, and I guess you could see the frame of the stage. This is the auditorium section. You know how many? I'm going to put you on the spot. You know how many this will hold?
It's about 240.
240.
240,
okay.
yeah.
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 And I
is
know
great.
school assemblies and plays
Yeah.
and musicals, and certainly would happen in this beautiful room.
Yeah, and you saw the former auditorium, the one upstairs that we just saw. Not only is it a significant new and upgrade, but also the acoustics as well. And everything, the technology involved in it is unbelievable. And obviously the accessibility. You know,
Yeah, you can
handicap
see the ramp
accessibility.
system here.
Yeah, tremendous.
Put in concrete.
Tremendous.
And you can see the upper portion has the blue board. I should say the drywall is the correct term. And below you can see the metal studs. Everything today is fire retardant, so you got the metal studs with the insulation in between for noise as well as for energy. Same with the rear of the stage. You can see the different color drywall, and of course the insulation going there. We have a gentleman working, putting some of the reinforcement on the studs here on the sidewall. So, you know, we'll be through here again at some point when it's further along, but we wanted to give people a little bit of a flavor of the process, how it looks, nothing is easy, and these buildings today are very complicated. I know you go back to the old Central, and I know the state engineers described that building as medieval.
Yes, yes, yeah, they did.
But it was very simple for a custodian to work the system. 'Cause
Exactly.
it was either the boiler was on or the boiler was off.
yeah.
You know, there was no manipulating the systems.
Yeah.
You know, today you got all the right airflow that has to come in.
That's right.
Everything is very technical. Thermostats all over the place.
A lot of training that needs to happen with our custodies.
Yeah.
A lot of training, yeah.
A
And
lot-
with city side.
a lot of
City
the
side
public
is the one
buildings.
They're doing the training, actually.
Right.
You know?
So we're now in the dining area, but I also know, I mentioned some people earlier, but the staff here has been very involved. I know Dr. Francisini and Courtney Mitchell, the assistant principal, and their staff here regularly communicate and had been part of the decision making along with your team at Coddington about the layout and how the space gets used. So talk a little bit about the space we're in now. I know we mentioned it earlier with the glass.
Yeah, this is a beautiful area. This is student dining. You know, the servery's in back of us, you know, but this is the student dining, and this is what I was talking about, like wide open spaces, you know. And what happens is this goes directly out to the front door with administration off to the right here, and then stairways over here to get up to the neighborhood academies, academy neighborhoods as we call them. You know, so that's really this.
So is this the first floor out here, or is this the?
Yeah, this is right. This is
so
where
ground
the kids
level
will
on
come
Granite
in.
Street.
Yes, yeah, right. As you can see, the building's there, and it'll be gone. But that's why this is such a beautiful, really great area. You know, and it's wide open. You know, so you see this bridge. You've got two bridges, really. This bridge and then that bridge over there that has this walkway between the art room, the library media center, the computer lab, so everything's over there. So the academies are over here, learning academies here, and then the program areas are over here.
Right.
You know, but it's wide.
And I'm assuming the railings will all be glass too.
Yeah.
So everything.
And it'll be different for our kids, different for our staff. The wide openness compared to where we just were. Yeah. You know, but it's just so much better. Yeah. You know, whether it's middle school, high school, elementary, far better. You know? So,
by the way, we're both drying off a little bit with the fan here.
I know. Thanks for the fan. Yeah. Woo! You know, but it.
Now we also had we had some parents involved from the community in this, and for the first time there was some kids involved. You want to talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, we thought it would be a great idea to have the 8th graders especially. Yeah. You know, since they were just going to be here and go, they would see it and then, you know, maybe come back to visit.
Right.
So we had them be directly involved as a building team. Yeah. You know, building committee, junior building committee, and they did a tremendous job. And they communicated at the school committee level. They communicated with our 4th graders down at Lincoln Hancock, who will be coming here next year, to give them a layout of what this will be like. Yeah. You know, so that really was great.
And what's the shoot? What date we're shooting to open for? Is it April vacation?
They're looking for April of 19, right? Yep. And you know, obviously I'd work with you, school committee. Right. But the sooner, the better.
Of course.
You know,
of course.
You have a brand new car, you want to get it going pretty quickly. You know, and we'll do that with the safety and security in mind.
Especially if you're 16 and a half years old. Right?
Yeah, imagine that. Yeah, I was there once. But so we had the kids involved, which was great. Yep. Bond presented to our high school students about engineering and how this comes to be, and it's so much is all technology, all technology. So
I've mentioned Bond a couple of times, and a number of the trade unions are involved in this project, from the steel workers to you name it. You look around, you look at the pots here. There's windows everywhere. There's insulation. There's different jurisdictions for the different trades, but they've been tremendous as well. Yeah. And you get a lot of local Quincy guys that live in Quincy. Right. Some of them that went here that take that pride in working on the building. So it's pretty special. And then that glass here you talk about, that overlooks the Robert Street side, and you can see Kincaid Park. Because we did lose, as you know, it wasn't a standard track, but we had a mini track to the rear of the building that was used for phys ed. And with the construction of the new building, we ate up some of that space, and some of that will be parking. But we're kind of, as you know, recapturing, if you will, Kincaid to be used for the schools, both this one and across the street on Water, we get Lincoln Hancock. Yeah. And then the youth organizations as well. So that's going to undergo a major renovation, which, you know, the renovations have in mind school use. Yeah. For example, there'll be a running path, but there'll be a eight-lane straightaway over there for the track program. So, awesome. You know, those stuff that we lost maybe here are covered on the new park at Kincaid. So, you know, Southwest Quincy, it's a great neighborhood, and I think that there's a lot of excitement in the community. And I gotta say, you know, Council Palmucci was the ward council, but the entire city council, they vote for these projects. Right. You know, they represent the people of Quincy. We put appropriations before them. They have to vet it. They have to do their homework and decide whether it's the right thing or not for the residents. So I appreciate the work of the city council and the finances, and of course, the school committee gets involved in a little bit of the nitty gritty on the layout and so forth, and they've been tremendous to work with. So this is the kind of stuff, in my opinion, that the residents expect out of their government. You got government at state and local level working together to get this thing done for the kids of our city, and that's what it comes down to.
Yeah, like I said, it's about connections. So the connection here in the neighborhood from Lincoln Hancock to here is solidified in such a great way where, you know, we could see, you know, from here we could see Lincoln Hancock, but the connection, the real connection now is right here. So it's a great thing for our kids, great thing for family, and great thing for the staff as well. So it's just a wonderful project, and we're thankful. We're thankful.
Well, it's time to wrap up the show, and then we got to get to our cars, and I'm seeing the rain coming down. Much needed rain. I'm looking across at Kincaid Park, but you know, I'd like to again share with the public, with our residents, some of what's going on in our city. And there's a lot happening, as we know, whether it's private development or what we're doing on infrastructure in government. So today is one of those days we thought we'd give an update on the old Sterling and the proposed new Sterling, which is well underway. I know there's a lot of other work going on with our public buildings department and your department during the summer, because that's when you try to get it done when the kids aren't in the building. It's so much easier. I know we're doing asbestos removal at Wollaston and Parker and replacing floors.
Gym areas, auditoriums. There's a lot, more than ever, in every building. I think only one building there's stuff going on, but the rest of them, whether it's the plumbing, whether it's new bathrooms, just a lot of great work.
And I always say, not to make it political, but when I'm on the campaign trail, these are public assets.
Right.
These are the community owns these assets. It's up to us to maintain them and keep them up, and I think we got a good system now in investing back into those assets, so they last a lot longer.
That's right. You know? That's right. Well, I want to thank you for your support.
Always a pleasure.
Always,
I appreciate you joining today, and
thank you very much.
Until next time, thank you for joining here in City View.